Good morning, folks. This is Mike Yazana here in San Augustine, Florida, of Menorcan Magic Handmade Cast Nets. As I promised, I was going to do a video on putting the horns into the net, physically attaching the horn into the net, other than talking about it. I'm going to physically do that for you this morning. This is going to be the finale, I guess, of the important things to do along the way. By the way, if you want to contact us, we're at area code 904-217-7974. Is that right, Phil?
I'm not sure.
217-7974. God darn it. Anyway, or the YouTube channels. All my information is on that. Okay, there's different types of horns used, and I don't use them. The only ones I use are the cow horns, all I've ever used for the last 50 years at least. But back in the early days now, we used a little plastic horn. You can't buy these anymore, by the way, but they're a good little horn. And a brass swivel or stainless steel swivel that your braille line's attached to this, and this is on top of the net, and this sits there. Now, important. Here's another type of horn that was used way back. But what you do not want to use a horn that swivel will go through it. See what I'm doing? Dropping that swivel through there. You do not want to do that. Okay. What'll happen? When you throw that net at an angle and you're pulling it back in, it has a tendency to hang up on it and won't tuck. It'll have trouble tucking it. Plus, the braille lines will tangle something terrible. So do not use a horn that will do that. This is a more later version of this type of thing. A horn. You've got the big plastic, and then you've got the insert that it sits on top of it like this. It sits on that. Your braille lines, you divide them up and go through the slots, the grooves on the ring. It sits on there like this. Then your hand line goes to this. Of course, your tucks are tied to this, and it goes like so. That's a later version of I see used. But I don't use this kind of stuff. I haven't. No, I've used this. I mean, I've used these a lot. These were what we used, was the plastic horn, because you couldn't get cow horns. The slaughterhouse closed up back in the 60s and around here, so you couldn't get cow horns, and there wasn't no eBay. So anyway, so you did what you had to do. They made them out of PVC, this, that, and the other. But what I used, and I showed you this the last video, showed you how to make the horn. That's a real cow horn, and hey, let's see, Phil. Phil had told me about showing you. Where the heck did that other one go?
The clip?
The little hook. I don't know where to take it.
It was right there.
I threw it in there from the door.
It was right there before.
Huh?
It was right there on the rug.
Where?
I just seen it before.
Where's it at, Phil?
Should have been right in front of you. Could be tangled up in the net.
I don't know. Anyway.
There it is on your right. Right there. Straight that. Oh, you just went past it. Right there.
Okay. Now, this is the one I prefer. And that's why we put the holes in it, because you hook it in here on each side like this. And when you hang that, your harness is going to go through here. And I use, like I say, I use number 15 on the braille lines, and simply it's going to go down through here, and the swivel is going to rest. And I showed you this last time. It's going to sit like this. That's what it does.
Hold it steady.
Okay. Let me get this out the way. I don't need that on there. I ain't having the best start to my morning, am I? You can tell we're amateurs. I am anyway. It sits on this. So they go through it and it sits on here like this. Okay. Now enough jibber jabber. Let's get to work. Now I've got this 8-foot net that's headed to Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yay, there's my other thing all tangled up in here. I dropped down in there. This is another type of hook that you can make, and I use these as clothes hangers. This probably works better on these big ones because it'll go down in there like this, and you can separate it and lift it and hold it, you know, store your net, whatever. All right. Now, you've heard me talk about this many times, starting a net, why I use the string to start it as opposed to the little rings, because when I finish this net, the sinkers are on. I put the sinkers on it just today. Nice 8-foot mullet net going to Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the next step is putting the horn in it. Now, to do that, that's why you use that string, because this is the actual string. I've said this many times in these different videos that this is what holds the top of this net into this horn. Now, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to cut this, cut it loose. Right away I'm going to tie a knot, because it's going to give you a fit. If you don't tie a knot in it, and your process of tying this thing around this horn, as you're going to see, you have yourself a mess. All right, you see what I got here? Okay, that looks like, and this isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world to do. Believe me, you're going to see that. What you got to do, you got to find the opening of your net. This blue stuff's hard for me to see. As you can see, I'm going to try to get it open, and I'm going to take this horn and I'm going to insert it. See what I did? I've inserted that net into, and notice that I'm holding this thing tight. Is what you want to do, you want to adjust these little loops. We're going to show you that before I tie the first knot. I'm going to get this thing, as you can see. Can you see that, Phil?
Yeah, just hold it steady.
See how I've got that?
I'm going to zoom in.
See how I've got that net positioned around that horn? Doesn't matter what type of horn you use, you're going to do this the same way.
Okay.
You got it?
Got it.
Okay. Now, this is kind of going on pretty good so far. I've got a groove, you know, just cutting that horn to keep it on there. Now, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to tie the first knot. Like I said, this isn't necessarily the damn easiest thing in the world by yourself. Okay, now, I've got the first knot, and I'm going to tie a square knot. So the way I have to do it, I have to hold it up against my chest, my big belly. Anyway, I'm going to pull it snug, and I'm going to put my finger there. Then I'm going to come back and finish my knot. Again, this is not the damn easiest thing. I didn't even get it. See what I'm telling you? Two things when you can't have sing and you're an old fart. All right, let's try it again. Going underneath that thing. All right. Catch the other end. Now we're cooking with gas. Now you see why I tied that knot in that thing. All right, now, I don't tie that thing super tight at this point because now is when you want to adjust your loops. Now this is going to be awfully hard for you to see, is what I'm going to try to do. What I'm going to do, I'm going to slide these loops, try to separate them, because they're underneath one another in all which ways when you start, because there's no other way of doing this. I'm just going to keep adjusting this, fooling with it, adjusting it until I get them even. So you don't want to have no big old space like that. So I'm on the other side of that knot, so I've got to slide these around this way. There we go. We can start sliding them. Keep a little space, and you want to try to keep a equal space in the stick. This is going to vary depending on the diameter of your horn that you use, obviously. As you can see what I'm doing. You picking that up okay, Phil?
Yeah, I think so.
I see what I'm doing. You get the idea of it, anyhow. And you got to just keep twitching it around and until, like I say, 'cause you can when you can. My phone number, by the way, was 217-7974. I muffed that up when I started. One of my old age brain stalls. Okay. See, this is a time-consuming thing. It's just I hate to keep you so long on doing these things, but it's important. It's one of the important things that you do. You know. Now what I'm going to do.
Hold that steady.
I can't half see. This blue color. This is the worst color for me. The knitting part of the net, all of it, it's the blue. It's hard to see. How's that look? You getting that pretty good, buddy?
Hold this there. Hold it right there. Okay.
Now that horn is in position. It's in there. But now you want it to stay. Now comes the part that is time consuming for you. You want to find your two ends. One of them goes one way and one of them goes the other. Make sure that you get it on the inside.
In the groove, right?
Mm-hmm. All right, now what you're going to do, you're going to go around this thing again. All right, see what I'm going to catch that line. I'm going to come halfway around the net and tie it again. You want somewhere close to halfway. You want to come around. I'm going to tie another knot. They get harder because you got less string to work with. And this string, these things are, like I said, this is not the easiest thing you're going to do on this net, I'm telling you. All right, I'm back to my chest. Now, see what I'm going to do. I'm going to catch this thing. And you got to keep the two strings. You see I'm struggling, trying to keep the stupid things together. Well, you put your finger there, hold that thing good and tight. Cause this one you want tight. Don't dare let that thing go till you get it tight. At this point, you big old burly guys won't have no trouble really tightening that thing. A lot better than I'm doing. And you got to, now is when you want to fine tune this thing. And get them back in line. And then what you're going to do is I'm not going to just keep going into this thing and dragging you on, because you see what I'm doing. You see exactly the intent of it now. See how I'm sliding these things? They're easier to slide, and that you don't want. That's why you have to. Now the next time I come around with this thing, I'm going to try to get below. Where I can catch the loops. And what you may have to do at some point, if you can't get this thing good and tight, you may have to take you a piece of double line of the same stuff and cut you a piece in it and go around it again. You know, this needs to be a good tight thing. They cannot slide. You have got a mess, I'm telling you. I'm going to do one last one, then I'm going to leave it up to you, because it's something you're going to have to do in reference to the way you do things. You may come up with a better way, I don't know. See what I'm trying to do? All right. Told you this wasn't no fun before I started. And I've had a lot of requests about, somebody wrote me, said they was having a heck of a time getting a horn in the net. And I understand why. I promised them at some point I was going to do this. That's been a while ago. I'm sure they long since figured it out. See what happens? You just, when you think you got it, you catch it on something. And if you've got somebody to help you, this is a lot easier. Don't struggle. Get somebody to put their finger on that thing, hold that thing for you. Daggone it. So I can't see it. And you're just going to continue to do that. See, it's tightening up now. It's getting tight. It's what you want to see. You're going to fine tune this thing, get those things as straight as you can. It's a lot tighter. I'm not going to fool with doing another one. I'm going to let you know what you have to do. But then when you get all through, when you get them all nice and straight and you get that thing tied really good, you want to take this stuff here, your Miracle nail. That's a nail hardener. Miracle nail, that's the one to use. It does not tarnish. It doesn't turn pink or yellow or something, you know? Miracle nail. I get these at the Dollar Tree for $1.25. Used to be $1, but they had to go up because of the stuff going up. And then what you'll do is you want to take, and of course you got to cut that off. Cut your string off when you get done. Then what you're going to do, you're going to take and coat all around this thing. You take that nail polish, and you can see that right around where you got it tied. Take and put a good coat. That's going to bond this thing where they won't slide. But once you bond them with that Miracle nail, that's it. And I'm going to adjust this later and finish this later. I'm taking up your time. I don't want to do that. Anyway, that's basically what we've got. You want to add anything to that, Phil? As you can see, I've got this net. It's a pretty nice.
Let me get a wide shot.
Nice. What's that?
Yeah, just hold it like that.
Yeah, that's a nice 8 foot. I'm going to put 18 braille lines in it. It's an 8 foot net. I'm going to put 18 braille lines in it. That's going to put them at 12 leads, 12 sinkers apart. That's going to be about, they'll be about this far apart. I use a number 15. This is going. I'm using a white. I use either white or green. The only two colors I can get in the bonded nylon, and that's simply going to go down right down through that horn, and then out through the bottom. You turn the net inside out, and you place them where they go. Count your sinkers and place them, and just do a 1/2 hitch. Pick your net up, hang it, and then the other videos show you how to. With all of that said, I don't know. I think I've pretty well covered everything. I hope everybody's had a wonderful spring. Summer's coming up, and for goodness sake, if you're living around the tornadoes, God, be careful. We got the storms coming up this summer here pretty soon. So, anyway, it's what it is. until the next time, unless you said, if you have any questions, be sure and email us. Email me at usinamike@gmail.com, or bundled up and give you the phone number 2 or 3 times. And we'd like to hear from you with your comments. And my buddy J.D. Powell, he's going to get a blast out of me fumbling around and starting this thing. I'm sure I'll get a comment from him. Be easy on me, J.D. I love you, buddy. All right, with all of that said, until later, y'all take care of yourself.